Breaking news now. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein failing to appear before House lawmakers, but today he agreed to sit down for an interview with the Wall Street Journal. Rosenstein used the opportunity to defend Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. He called it, quote, appropriate and independent. This coming as Bloomberg reports that Robert Mueller is expected to issue key findings on core aspects of his so-called investigation of Russia collusion. That's going to happen, we're told, right after the midterms. If you're not sick of this witch hunt now, I don't know what we'll feel like after the elections, because it's just getting worse and worse. It's an absurdity. I can't even explain it. To help us do so, joining me to discuss all of this and the key findings, of course, from the so-called very important special counsel, Robert Mueller. Joining me now, former federal prosecutor Sidney Powell, the author of License to Lie. It's available, by the way, in stores online. Please buy it. And Chris Farrell, Director of Investigations for Judicial Watch. Go to judicialwatch. It's .org, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I think you ought to go there, too. Good to see you both. Let's start, Sidney, with what is going on with Rosenstein. I'm really getting tired of him. I'm really tired of him. I'm tired of Bob Mueller. These are supposed to be high-powered attorneys of some kind. They are clowns. They have become pure caricatures of what they once were, or at least wanted to appear as.
Well, Lou, they're both swamp creatures. They have both been in the swamp virtually their entire careers. They've known each other for a long time. I think at one point Rosenstein was actually under Mueller in the Department of Justice.
He was?
I've got an article in the Daily Caller out today talking about how the jig is up for Mr. Mueller, not because he wouldn't like to drag it out as long as Mr. Trump is president, but because Mr. Trump holds all the cards now in a list of 10 documents that I've also tweeted at Sidney Powell, the #1, that we could have declassified with the wave of the president's hand. And that would give the public all the information they need to know the truth behind this whole Russia collusion, confusion narrative that blames President Trump for something that the Democrats
It's a travesty
created.
Against justice. It's just ignorance. And the legal profession. I got to be honest, I'm pretty sick of the legal profession. Chris, give us your best thoughts on what the president ought to do here.
Well, of course, the declassification of documents that Sidney mentioned, Judicial Watch has provided a long list many months ago, as a matter of fact. And then I guess they've hit the pause button on Mr. Rosenstein's departure. But look, he's a fact witness. He's disqualified. He's conflicted. He cannot be removed
Why
from
isn't
the
there
Justice
anyone?
Department.
Shouldn't there be someone? I mean, let's assume that all of the 20,000 lawyers in the Justice Department, there have to be, what, 80% of them of high integrity? And the rest apparently are rats who run the place. I mean, I don't get it. Why isn't there somebody saying this has got to stop? 2 years, more than 2 years of investigation, the FBI investigation, the special counsel, there's nothing. Why are we persisting in this, Sidney?
Because the two people at the top of the Justice Department have been confirmed by the Senate and are allowing this to happen and party to it. I mean, as soon as Sessions recused himself, he just totally betrayed the trust of the president to handle the Department of Justice. And it's going to take a new attorney general or a new deputy attorney general to straighten it out and do a whole lot of house cleaning with Clorox and fire hoses.
Well, why don't I ask both of you as well, what to do about the border? We understand the loopholes. We understand the radical Dems will not cooperate. Chuck Schumer means to absolutely strip any impediment against illegal immigration, the trafficking of the most deadly drugs facing this country and claiming literally millions of lives over the decades. He means for that to stay open, and he means for those illegal immigrants to vote Democrat. What are we to do?
I think
there's a very...
Go ahead, Chris, you started.
Go ahead, Chris.
Sure. The answer is a one-sentence order to the Department of Defense, and that one sentence is secure the southern border of the United States, period. That fixes a host of problems.
Right. Go ahead, Sidney.
It would. And I would add to that an executive order by the president under 8 United States Code 1182F that stops all immigration immediately, with the exception of peoples whose names are already on the list for lawful entry, to be evaluated for that, and take the funding that is being given to countries who are sending their people here,
as the president
and use
has
that
said,
to build that to build the southern border wall immediately. That executive order could be entered tomorrow. It's consistent with the Supreme Court's decision in Hawaii versus Trump. It's consistent with the statute. Just stop it all. And that would put the pressure on Congress to come back from the recess and do its job to create the laws it needs to create.
Very quickly, Chris, you get the last word.
Well, you know, the president has an awful lot of authority in this regard. He needs to move against the border securing it. He also needs to declare the cartels to be foreign terrorist organizations. Those two elements alone would change the playing field dramatically.
Sidney Powell, Chris Farrell, I think we're getting there. Thank you both. Appreciate it.